You're still watching our live coverage of the 64th Independence Day here in Nigeria. Now, there has been...
I wanted to tell you that it's been like a marathon.
It has been. I mean, since morning. But, you know, even as we're having this marathon in the studio, we've taken the voices of Nigerians all across the country. And you would note that there is a collective call for a collective action on different issues or challenges the country is now being faced with, especially at state levels. One of them is security, another is the issue of poverty, education, healthcare. And there's a call for governors to be more accountable and also to do all they can to deal, you know, or to give good governance to their citizens and residents at that level. Now, especially now that we're celebrating independence, there's also call for true federalism. Now, let's bring in our next guest. He's the governor of Katsina State, Diko Radda. Good to have you join us.
Thank you. How are you?
Very well, sir. Happy Independence Day to you.
Congratulations to all of us.
Yes, and one of the things you have done today is that you have given a speech. You have addressed the residents of Katsina State. You have called for unity, and you've also called for the collaborative efforts to deal with issues, you know, challenges in your state collectively. But in calling for unity, what do you make of the country today in terms of how united we are? Some say that we see each other, you know, as regions, the north and the south. Some say we see each other as, you know, as tribes. But what do you make of our unity?
Thank you very much. I think we have made a lot of progress in that regard, but I think it is very important for all of us now to do more. Because this issue of unity, the issue of ethnicity, religious difference, and what have you, is still with us. But I think we have done a lot of work on that since independence, or since before independence. But I think a lot of progress, as I mentioned earlier, was made. And but I think we need to do more. We have to look at ourselves as Nigerians, because in most of our cases, you see that people don't see themselves as Nigerian first. What they normally do is they see themselves as, in terms of their region, in terms of their ethnicity, in terms of their religion, but we need to see collectively as one, because in most of the countries that we see all over the world, they look at their country first, they talk about a country first, they talk about the development of their nation first before they talk of their individual, regional, or state development. And, you know, our founding fathers have done a lot of work in that regard. And we that are following their footsteps, we need to develop the culture of thinking about Nigeria first, talking about Nigeria first, because if we don't have that in our mind, we may not have the necessary development that we require in this country, because we cannot grow as individuals, we cannot grow as a state, only a state, or we cannot grow as a local government or as a region, but we have to collectively put all our energy and resources, because if you look at Nigeria, it's one country that has tremendous human resources. We are not even talking of minerals or other resources, but the most important and fundamental is the human resources that we have. If you go all over the world, you look at the health sector, you look at other sectors, ICT, you see Nigerians excelling in almost everything. When you look at business, enterprises, entrepreneurship, and what have you, you see Nigeria excelling. We have the richest man in Africa. We have a lot of entrepreneurs. You can see a lot of creativity, skills, and what have you in Nigeria. I think we need to harness on all this potential that God has bestowed on us, so that we can move the country to where we want to be, and the country to see the country of our dream. And but this requires collective effort. This requires a lot of discipline. This requires a rule of law. It requires transparency and accountability. And good governance is one of the pillars that leaders should try to imbibe, because without trust, building trust on those people that are following us, will not have the required attention that is needed in this country. But I think we are good to go, and we have done a lot of progress, but I think we need to do more.
Now, when you want to look at it compared to what we enjoyed in the 60s, and in terms of development, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of collective movement as a country, how would you assess the country? Do you think we are moving at the right pace, or do you think our development have been kind of stagnated?
I am one of those who believe that the country has done a lot in terms of infrastructural development. And then if you look at Nigeria in 1966, and you look at the resources available and the population at that time, you will really understand the fact that we are making progress. But if you say that the progress that we are not making it commensurate to the resources and the availability that God has bestowed on us, I would say yes. Because if you look at countries of Nigerian status, like always make example of Brazil and the country of that likes, that you see Brazil at that time, we are almost the same population. Our economic development is almost at the same pace, or maybe Nigeria is even better. So if you look at the kind of progress and development you witness in Brazil, you cannot compare it to what we have in Nigeria today. We were unable to harness most of our potentials. You know, we rely so much. We become a consuming nation rather than a developing nation. And we need to come up with a lot of strategies and policies that could make Nigeria a productive nature. Without a productive country, you cannot meet the employment challenges, you cannot meet the economic challenges, you cannot meet even the infrastructural development that you needed in that country. So I think we need to do a lot of work in that regard. And then we need to give positive leadership. We need to give a leadership that is acceptable within the country, that the people will say, yes, we believe in what we are doing, we believe in our leaders, and then it requires collective effort and collective contribution. Because if you look at our system, and it needs total overhauling, because you cannot just say that, okay, we have bad leaders or we have bad followers, but we need a collective responsibility, because people are not doing what they are supposed to do in all the assignment given to them at the time the assignment is given to them. When you look at our educational system, you see fault in those people responsible for carrying out that activity. If you go to the health sector, you go to the hospitals, you see that most of those people that are responsible for providing services to the citizens are not up to their responsibility as it is needed.
Take you to Katsina State now. I know one of the major bane of development in that state is insecurity, banditry. A lot of things would have been done, a lot of development and achieved progress would have been made in that state in the last how many years. But right now, it's not, after Zamfara, it's like the epicenter of banditry. What are you doing to actually stem this tide?
I think if we have been following the state since our inauguration,
all right, we'll reconnect again.
Yes, I'm really looking forward for his answer. He's quite passionate about fighting this scourge.
It's a big issue. Like you said, Zamfara, there is Sokoto, there is this Katsina. We've seen some gains being made by the military and other security agencies. The president also talked about it.
The recent onslaughts on banditry, even in Zamfara and some other thing.
All right, okay. Again, he's back. Governor Radda, you were speaking to how you are addressing the insecurity in your state. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think what we did since the inception of the administration, because that is one of the major promises that we have made to the populace as we are campaigning for election into the office of the governor. Because what we believe in, you cannot address this issue without involving the locals. And what we did in Katsina was we involved the locals. We pick young men and women from those communities who are committed, who are willing to join us, and then we
are really grappling with this network thing.
Yes, yes. It's
involving, at the point in time, amnesty was declared, and a lot of guns, a lot of ammunition was actually recovered from these bandits, and they went into the forest, and the governor even had to negotiate. The former governor negotiated with them. A Pagon unit brought in AK-47. There's a certain amount to give to you, but they brought everything in, but it still did not work.
I think it speaks to what we were speaking to earlier with the former GOC, of one division, where he was talking about the idea of monitoring. Okay. All right, Governor Radda, that's again the network challenges. But please go ahead with your answer to the insecurity question.
Yeah, I said what we did was we just put up young men and women who came from those communities, and then we trained them along with the police and the military, and then we joined them with the community, the conventional security agencies in the state to work together. We provided them with all they needed. We provided them with armored vehicles. We provided them with about 70 Hilux vehicles. We provided them with almost 1,000 motorcycles. We give them the raffles that is authorized by the POP action, that is authorized by the... And then we created a legal framework for them from the State Assembly. And they have been operating for almost a year now. And that has helped in reducing the level of insecurity in the state, because I wouldn't have known what the state could have been without the creation of that security outfit that we did in the state. And they are working perfectly in synergy with the army and synergy with the police. And we have recorded and achieved a lot in terms of their operations in the state. And I can tell you without fear of contradiction that we have reduced the level of insecurity in the state for over 60 to 70%. And then because what we inherited when we came on board was there were over 24 local governments that were being that are having that challenges of insecurity. But now we have reduced it to the level of those frontline local governments that borders the forest. And even at that level, that massive kidnapping, massive killing, and destruction of property has drastically reduced in the state. But you still witness some pocket of those insecurities, and we are working in good synergy with the Nigerian.
I wanted to ask you that, does he intend to negotiate with them? Like it's
exactly. And then you're also talking about the issue of if he believes in the issue of amnesty. For those, the general was speaking to, retired general was speaking to earlier, was talking about how it's now a family business. Because we took that story as well on TVC News, where
quite pathetic.
Yes, where there was a wife who was going to supply arms, and her husband is part of it. And so, where does amnesty come? Wipe them out. Where does amnesty? Difficult. Very difficult. So, where does amnesty come in to believe he believes in the idea of amnesty?
Excellency, are you considering amnesty for this repentant bandits?
And if he believes,
do you believe in amnesty or negotiation?
My position has always been very clear without any contradiction on this. What I said is I am not going to negotiate with a bandit at the point of disadvantage. But if the bandits are ready and willing to come and lay down their arms, and then we can consider to give them amnesty. But I cannot go and beg any bandit to come for any amnesty or should come for any negotiation. But my position is very clear. If the bandits are ready and willing and ready to receive them. But I will not go begging bandits to come for any negotiation. And I'm not going to negotiate with a bandit at the point of disadvantage. You always negotiate at the point of strength, not going begging for bandits to come for negotiation. This is a sign of failed state.
Have you been supporting the military operations in your states?
I have been supporting the military in all ramifications, financially, morally, and what have you.
And finally, Governor Radda, I wanted to ask you, again, because we were speaking to the governor of Kaduna State earlier, and this also came up, the issue of increased allocation to states.
Yes. And
people are demanding accountability, and just to join your residents,
governors
to demand for that accountability. Give us an idea of how you're spending that increased allocation to your state in terms of development.
My dear, I think I can give account of all the money I received from the federal government from the time I came to office to date. I'm not afraid I'm shying away from responsibility. I know that I will be accountable to whatever I receive, not only to Nigerians and the people of Katsina State, but I will be our.
Wow, that's there.
Let's try and bring it back, for that. We'll try and connect him for that, final answer, and then that'll be, but,
Because when you look at the allocation, during the time of his predecessor, they were getting, Katsina State was getting like between 4, 5, 6, 7 billion naira every other month. But as I'm talking to you now, the least they've gotten, this administration, the least they've gotten is 10 billion naira.
And people are saying, look, we want to see
that
what is being done and how it impacts on their lives. Yes,
and the governor is saying that is ready.
Some people tell me it goes beyond palliatives because you can give a man palliative for today. At best, it lasts 2 3 months. At best, it lasts 2 3 months. But if not, that if there are no infrastructure to that would impact on their lives forever.
Yes.
It just doesn't trickle down.
Yes, and infrastructure, facility,
exactly.
Things that will aid the main thing.
That's why perhaps one of the things that people support with the federal government is the CNG buses, and then the seedlings and fertilizers being given to farmers. Which, of course, I think I read somewhere that I think it was the Minister of Agriculture, not Minister of Agriculture, Minister of Finance, and coordinating Minister of the Economy. He was talking about how they are trying to help farmers in the wet and dry season farming. All right, we understand.
All right, on the final lap, so we're just asking about the allocation. You were trying to tell us what you've done with it so far.
Yes, I said it quite clear that I can't be able to give account of every single cover that I received from the federal government. But what I want to tell you that now in terms of infrastructural development, agricultural development, healthcare services, we have done a lot. And the beautiful thing about Katsina State is whatever contract we awarded, we mobilize the contractor 40%, and we make sure that we have the money in our account before we award any contract. So there is no any ambiguity on that. And we are working, and we are doing a lot of infrastructural development. I'm asking you and inviting you to come to Katsina so that I can take you around to see what we have achieved within this 1.5 years.
Governor, we will take you up. I and Ayo will take you up on that invitation. We're waiting for proper invitation from you. Thank you so much, Governor.
Thank you so
Radda of Katsina. Thank you for your time. Happy Independence Day to you.
Happy Independence Day to you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.